House, HarperCollins, the New York Times, the New Yorker, and many other well-known publishers and publications. My friends would always say to me, "You're so lucky. You found the thing that you're supposed to be doing," she told me. And when I do feel talented and I feel like I'm in the flow, I'm like, I know how to do this. I should be doing this. At the same time, Kolodny is consumed by financial anxiety. "I've always just survived," she said. "I don't have any savings, really." When I asked her what her nut was, the number in dollars that she felt that she needed to get to each year, she said, "I don't have a number, but that's because I've been postponing the idea of having a number. It's been hard for me to visualize the future." Things had actually been looking up for her a bit around the time we spoke. In recent months, she had engaged in conscience-free eating out on several occasions, and had bought a few things, and was no longer constantly checking her bank account to see if the rent would clear. She was also working with an agent on a project that she hoped would bring her career to the next level, an impressionistic, semi-fictional illustrated memoir, as she described it. "I've thought of it as my get-rich-quick scheme," she said. "But it's not very quick," she laughed. "It's very slow." "For me, that's the golden egg," Kolodny explained. "If that crashes and burns, then I have to assess everything." And what would that assessment look like? What else could she do instead? Plan B would be teaching, ideally art, but anything if necessary. Plan C would be any job at all. "Everyone I know," she said, "if they're not in a 9-to-5 job, or they're not a trustafarian, they're a yoga teacher, or an Uber driver, or a nanny. It would be hard for her, after all these years, to turn to something like that, that's so disconnected from my trade." But Kolodny, who was 34 at the time we spoke, also knew that she was reaching a decision point. "It's not sustainable," she said about her situation, "especially if I want to have a kid. Well, actually, if I want to have a kid, I do want to have a kid." Martin Bradstreet was 29 when he got to live out his musical dreams. Bradstreet, who grew up in Australia and lives in Montreal, was the founder of the rock band Alexei Martov. Their music can best be described as loud. The band built a following around Montreal with shows that they promoted on Facebook. Then in 2015, Bradstreet decided to put together a tour. For a musician like him, he told me, that's what success is. Touring around in a van, playing songs you worked on with your friends, expressing something meaningful to total strangers. So Bradstreet got online, searched for bands that were similar to his, and looked at tour schedules, hundreds of them, to identify the venues where those bands had played. Then he went on Indie on the Move, a database of venues, for contact information. Places are more likely to book you, he said, if you approach them with a full program already lined up, meaning you plus a couple of local acts. So he'd look up, say, 80 bands in Louisville, and listen to their music to find the most compatible ones to reach out to. Then, he said, you've got to work out how to promote a show in a city you've never been to, at a venue you've never played at, with bands you don't know. Which he did, in part, by getting the venues to give him their media contacts so he could approach the latter directly. Yes, Bradstreet agreed, it's a lot of work. But thanks to the internet, all you need to tour is work. You're going to lose money at first, he explained, but money wasn't the point for him. Bradstreet was supporting himself on his savings from online poker and, as he put it, other investments. He would have liked to get to the next level, a publicist, a booking agent, a record deal. But, he said, there are a lot of really talented me's out there. By the time we spoke, Bradstreet had moved on to other pursuits. It does seem like playing music for a living would be a nice thing to have done, he said, growing wistful. But it's tough to fit everything together, especially in modern life as you get older. Still, he had no regrets. Of the tour's roughly 50 shows, he said, half are among the best 100 nights of my life. Micah Van Hove is a self-taught independent filmmaker from Ojai, California. Van Hove did not go to film school or even college. His work, he told me, has been entirely enabled by the internet and what he's been able to learn there. For him, if television is like fiction, film is like poetry. It's about
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.